Good afternoon, students. It's Mrs. Cinti here, and I am ready to talk to you about subtracting integers. Now, subtracting integers is something that you're going to discover is something that you actually don't do. You actually turn a subtraction of integers into addition at all times. So you will no longer be subtracting things. You are simply adding things. How crazy is that? Okay? So what we're going to do is we are going to think about it rationally, and then I'm going to tell you the trick and the secret of the whole thing. Okay? So let's try 3 subtract a negative 2. Okay. Now, what you need to understand in order to move on is that when you are saying subtract, you're also saying the opposite of. Okay, the opposite of. So what this is saying is it's really saying 3 and the opposite of, and the opposite of a negative 2. What is the opposite of a negative 2, you ask me? You know what it is. The additive integer is a positive 2. So if you do the opposite of a negative 2, you're really adding and. So 3 and the opposite of a negative 2, which means a positive 3. So how confusing is that, right? It's crazy. But what you're doing is this is what it looks like. The answer is going to be 5. Now let me show you the trick, okay? The trick is whenever you see 3 subtract a negative 2, you are always going to do this. You are going to either say to yourself, keep, change, change, okay? So keep, change, change, which I think is actually better. Let's just stick to that. Keep, change, change. So that means that it's 3 plus a positive 2. That's what you're going to do every single time. 3 plus a positive 2 is equal to 5. Now let's look at the number line. Here is our number line. Here we are at 1, 2, 3. Okay, we are subtracting a negative 2. That's confusing. Subtracting a negative 2 meaning we're taking the opposite of the negative 2. We are adding the opposite of the negative 2, which means that we're actually going positive to 5. Okay, so that's why the answer is 5. So let's try a few. This is just so much fun to do because your homework is going to literally look like this. 5 minus a negative 10. And then you are going to come along in a different color and say, keep, change, change. And all of a sudden you're going to have 5 plus 10 is equal to 15. Now, all the problems are not going to look like that, right? We're going to try to see some other types of problems. Let's say that we have something like 8 subtract 10. Okay? Now, you're going to still say keep, change, change. You're going to still say keep, change, change. You're going to say keep, change, change. You have addition, right? Anytime you have a subtraction sign now, you're turning it into an addition sign by changing it and then changing whatever is next to it. So now we have 8 plus a negative 10. Here you have $8 and then you lose $10. So now you're in the hole $2, right? Or you're on that number line. You were at 0. Here's the 8. You lose 10, so you go back 8 spaces and then 2 more, and that's why you're at the negative 2. Okay? Let's look at another one. What about negative 6 subtract 4? I'm going to get a new color, as you should be getting a new color, so you can put this in your notes and see it very well. I haven't used yellow in a while. Keep, change, change. Negative 6 plus a negative 4 now is a negative 10. Let's try another one. Negative 8 subtract a negative 10. Let's grab over here. Keep, change, change. Negative 8 plus 10 is 2. The larger value you would keep the sign of the larger absolute value, which is 10, and so that's why it's 2. Okay, so the most important thing that you are saying to yourself whenever you are in subtraction is that you must do keep, change. Okay, you cannot have subtraction anymore. Integers, not in integer addition with negative numbers, you cannot have subtraction anymore. Got it? Okay, let's practice together.